Yemen stretches across an area of 500,000 square kilometers and is surrounded by some of the world's richest nations. In the time of the Roman Empire, Yemen used to be known as the Fortunate Arabia. It is universally considered an ancient and beautiful country. Its geographic position contributes to its fortune as well as its misery. Yemen lies in the crosshairs of a cultural and trading intersection. Unfortunately, it is also directly in the path of an important military zone. The Yemeni territory has been subject to the reign of countless empires and kingdoms. One of the best-known rulers of Yemen was the Sabaean king, who annexed this region from 750 BC to 115 AD. Not long after 115 AD, the Prophet Muhammad began to spread the Islamic faith, which took root in Yemen. Let us take a trip to the distant past, to the city of Marib, once comparable to Rome in its importance to the area. The Wadi Hadramaut is an extensive valley in the midst of a parched expanse. It is one of the first areas in the world where civilization settled. Hans Helfrich first discovered it for the world in 1935. It was the traveler Helfrich that nicknamed it the Manhattan of the desert. Judge for yourself. These mud and straw skyscrapers were erected here at the same time as wild game was still roaming, but today is Manhattan. The land of the Queen of Sheba lies wedged in between the Red Sea and the Gulf of Aden. There used to be an extensive dam here which facilitated the irrigation of an area of 10,000 hectares. Such a feat of irrigation was unheard of at the time. The dam split the surrounding land in two. It was for this reason that the area became known as the Land of Two Paradises. Though it is almost impossible to imagine, on this very spot, the Garden of Eden existed around 1,000 years BC, literally, right here. The topography has radically changed over the last 3,000 years. Well, something did survive the lapse of time. Look carefully at this rock formation. Doesn't it resemble a ship? The Yemeni people believe that this is the petrified Noah's Ark. It's almost as if the Ark fossilized, captain and all. The captain of the Ark was none other than Shem, Noah's son. The Yemeni believe that Shem became petrified because he refused to become a Muslim. In Yemen, one rule applies more so here than anywhere else in the world. Every man is supposed to carry a knife. We're not suggesting that there's anything wrong with that, but the fact is that most of these daggers are completely dull and meant only for ornamental purposes. The Yemeni jambiyas will differ in design not only depending on the status of their owners, but also based on the area where that owner lives. According to Yemeni custom, when a boy is no longer allowed to be among the harem, he carries a jambiya to symbolize that he has become an adult. The intricate patterns on the daggers often attract more attention than the dagger's blade. Here in Yemen, there are seemingly a countless number of places you can go to watch the craft of dagger making. Your dagger experience would not be complete without stopping to watch by a street vendor bargaining and squabble with a buyer. The scene bears a strong resemblance to a sporting match, complete with a clear winner. The seller always wins. However, the real purpose of our visit to Yemen is to witness the miracles of nature. Needless to say, here, there seem to be miracles everywhere. We must leave the poor Yemenis to their prayers and their everyday lives. The imams are calling their worshippers to prayer. And so, it is time for us to head for Socotra. This Yemen island occupies 1 full square kilometer and overflows with an unusual amount of nature's marvels. We are on Socotra, a somewhat remote archipelago that is considered more poor than the mainland of Yemen. But for biologists, Socotra is a veritable paradise, comparable in importance to the Galapagos. The unique and fascinating characteristic of the local fauna and flora is closely linked to its geological history. Scientists consider Socotra to be the most remote piece of dry land in the history of planet Earth. The high degree of endemism is the result of isolation. The endemism is what makes the entire archipelago a significantly remarkable location, both for its biogeography as well as in terms of evolution. 30% of the 900 plants here are endemic, and 10 species are unique. In fact, the pomegranate and the aloe plant originated here. There is so much to admire here. As recently as 1977, a never-before-seen endemic freshwater crab was discovered here, habitating within the mountain streams. Despite the existence of this unusual crab, we can't overlook the abundance of common crabs on the shores. It would be virtually impossible to ignore them anyway, given their sheer numbers and the intricacies of their sand fortresses. What could easily be overlooked if one is not careful is a narrow strip of nature that evokes an otherworldly impression. This is an outright botanical gem. Mother Nature manifests her might here, in the midst of endless sand. Along a tiny stream flourishes nature comparable to that found in the Swiss Alps. Everywhere you look, something utterly unique can be seen. The locals refer to these plants by a somewhat unflattering phrase. As far as we can translate, they are called the backside of an elderly fat lady with her head buried in the ground. Nevertheless, not even a hideous name diminishes the awe with which scientists view the Socotra desert rose. In order to survive in such harsh conditions, the plants here evolved so as to preserve water in an exemplary manner. Something resembling a small flask containing liquids forms a part of their roots, out of which the plants are able to draw energy. Socotra is veiled in myths and legends. The mythical phoenix bird left his fiery nest once every 500 years to circle human abodes and bring to them life-giving fire on his glowing feathers. According to this legend, Socotra was the fiery nest of the phoenix. Socotra today is classified as a treasure chest of the world's natural heritage, particularly due to its prehistoric fauna and flora. A vast majority of the island's flora and fauna are endemic, meaning they do not exist anywhere else in the world. Among the best known is the dragon blood tree, Dreisena cinnabari. It resembles a giant mushroom. Its treetop is made of long, thick green needles. The tree survives on dew that collects onto these needles at night. Each of the dragon blood trees are hundreds of years old. Oddly, they almost never reproduce. There are no small trees here. The dragon blood tree has a red sap, cinnabar, which the local people collect and use as an antiseptic or as a colorant. In the past, this sap represented a valuable export. Roman warriors smeared their bodies in the dragon blood tree sap so that if they became injured, they would have a clean wound that would heal faster. In those days, it was truly worth its weight in gold. Let us not disturb this mesmerizing piece of land. What nature created over thousands of years can very easily cease to exist within a single decade.